Welcome back to Studio F, where in Fast Times Willy B, we'll be reviewing Imaginary. Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
Russell!
Welcome back to Fast Times Willy B. I'm Willy B. I got Rosie back. Rosie, how we doing today?
Good, how are you?
Doing good. So, we've got the latest addition to the Blumhouse horror family, and that is Imaginary, directed by Jeff Wadlow. Not the best resume. He's got Truth or Dare on there. I don't know if you've seen that one.
I believe
He also
so.
did Kick-Ass 2, which I enjoy Kick-Ass 2, but I know is, amongst most people, a very bad film. Not the biggest names in this cast list. The only two people I recognized were DeWanda Wise from Jurassic World Dominion. She's the airplane pilot.
Okay.
And she plays our main character, Jessica. And then I also recognized Betty Buckley. She was the teacher in Carrie, the 1976 Carrie. She plays Gloria,
Right.
our older lady figure. Tom Payne is the dad in this film. Didn't really recognize him. And then obviously the two daughters, didn't recognize either of them. That's Tegan Burns and Piper Braun. Both turned in solid enough performances, but we'll dive into the good. And this could be a quick category, at least for me.
Okay.
You might have a little more to say.
Sure.
First, I want to highlight, I thought that this concept was cool.
Yeah.
I thought it was a strong concept, a unique concept. You know, obviously we've seen imaginary friends done before in films, but not to this effect.
Yes.
I feel
agree.
like, you know, when it comes to kids' imaginary friends, we've seen Poltergeist, and that's about it. The list kind of ends there.
Right.
A lot of our imaginary friends, or like imagining a companion, comes from the older people. You know, The Shining is one I think of. You know, he has his friends at the bar. But, you know, it was unique to see kind of like, you know, in the trailer, you get that the toy is an imaginary friend, but, you know, then the toy ends up not really ever existing. But
Right.
I thought it was a strong concept. I thought if written well or done differently, it might have been a very strong movie. Obviously, it didn't go the way I thought it would, but I will give it credit where credit's due. I thought the concept could have been really good.
Yeah.
Or I thought the concept was good. I thought the story could have been even better.
Right.
I also love the color.
Yes.
The uses of blues, and then obviously, you know, the colorful paintings and stuff, the oranges, all of that. Blue, obviously, the most prominent color in the dream sequences, in the other world,
Yes.
the never ever, as they call it. I thought the color grading was done pretty well.
Yeah, I love that scene where she's, they're trying to get Alice back, and she moved all of the stuff out of her studio and, painting on the wall, like going over the paintings that she did when she was little.
Yeah.
Those colors are very vivid. I really like those.
For sure. I thought they did well with the color. And then I would say there was one scene that really stuck out to me too, and that's the therapy session. So this is after Jessica's kind of getting the feeling that Alice's bear isn't, you know, a nice friend.
Right.
Has a more sinister side to it. And so she calls over their therapist, the doctor that's been talking with them because they've had problems with their mother, their real mother, Jessica's the stepmother in this
Right.
in this film. And this is the scene where you discover the bear's all imaginary.
Yeah, that
you
was
get-
a plot twist.
Yeah, you get a fight between Chauncey the bear and Alice, and it's intense. I thought this was the best that the acting ever was in the film.
She, for being so young,
Yeah.
the whole movie, I thought she was great.
Yeah.
Her facial expressions were great. And with someone so young, it's kind of hit or miss, but
Yeah.
I really think she did a really good job for being so young, and that scene was really, really well with her emotion.
Yeah.
You could really tell the emotion in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Her emotion was great the whole movie, so I
Yeah.
really love that scene.
She started out a therapy session crying to a really convincing cry at
Yes,
that.
for sure.
And that scene stuck out to me just because it was the best written scene. It was the best shot scene.
Yeah.
It had the most emotional tension.
Yes.
I mean, you could cut the tension with a knife.
The back and forth.
Yes. And then the way they pan the camera to show that her mouth isn't moving
Yeah.
and that
We thought it
she's
was.
not voicing Chauncey.
Like we thought, because
yeah.
they mentioned that earlier. that they heard her
talking through the vent.
and they were like, oh, she's doing his voice. Nope.
So everything about that scene was the best part of the movie, in my opinion.
I agree.
That's all I really have for the good. Like I said, there could have been a lot of things for me that could have gone differently and would have made this movie much better for me.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as what we got to see in the hour and 44-minute runtime, that's it for me. Is there anything you'd like to add to the good?
Most of my stuff lays in the meh category.
Okay.
But I think we got a pretty good category. Unfortunately, it's not too big.
Yeah.
But I would say I would probably rewatch it, knowing what I know now about it.
There's a lot of world building. For an hour and 44-minute movie,
it probably
they try to throw it's almost overload. Like, information
they probably
overload.
could have went another half hour or so and kind of spread some things out, but...
Which we'll get into. Let's hop over to the meh, and I'll start with pacing.
This is where just getting into that.
It struggles for me to say there could have been 30 more minutes because although there was a lot of world building, the pacing wasn't great. There were a lot of dry moments, and there were a lot of the therapy session was action packed. You're intrigued. You're on the edge of your seat, but I don't know. I think things could have been changed, and I think what you built could have been done in an hour and 44 minutes.
Yeah,
if things were done differently.
I also think some things weren't necessary.
Yes, a lot of the cringy scenes, and that's mostly the interactions we get with the dad. I thought a lot of those scenes were not really needed. He really didn't play a role in this film.
No, which was bizarre. But the one I brought to my mind was her meeting the neighbor kid.
Mm-hmm.
And him coming over, that whole thing.
That was mainly just to show that the bear was bad, I guess. But I agree.
Yes,
I agree. There wasn't much.
Not the whole. He would have been. It would been okay if he would come over and watch a movie but not with the fake drugs and things like
the
that.
Dropping of the alcohol,
all of that. We could have saved a couple of minutes and used those other couple minutes somewhere else that was a little bit more necessary. Yeah, the dad, I didn't think about that, but the dad really didn't play too big of a part.
Mm-hmm. He's just the connection between Jessica and the daughters.
That really is it, because he was not even home during,
went on tour.
the climax of the movie.
Yeah.
He's not there.
He was there for the first few scenes, and then once he goes on tour, that's when the movie starts taking off. It hits the second and third act. He misses the entire second and third act, almost, I would say. So that was another thing, his character was kind of just, I don't know, there. I'd put the acting in the meh. I thought DeWanda Wise was great.
Mm-hmm.
I thought anything that was wrong with her was writing, not her.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I thought the dad was meh. Which,
we didn't see much of him, so...
Which is, it's hard to grade somebody that has 15 minutes of screen time.
Yeah.
You said Alice was great. I thought Taylor had moments where I was I'm not convinced.
Yeah. Her character's kind of hard to play, though, because she was,
it's getting the right
that teenage angst is kind of hard to play, if that's not how you actually are.
Plus,
I don't know.
You have these relationships, you always get the stepmom and stepdaughter relationship all the time where it's not the greatest. You get that in film all the time.
Yeah.
This one was really poorly written.
Yeah.
I thought it was super cringy. I was a daughter would never act like that. I'd hope not.
Yeah.
Because there was no level of respect at all.
Yeah.
And I think that also plays into her character a little bit, is maybe the writing wasn't, all there for Taylor's character, or the character of Taylor, I should say. But I wasn't convinced. I don't know, and then, I thought Buckley did well when she was on screen, but again, I'll get into her character in the bad, but I don't know. None of the acting was really convincing to me, and I think a big part of it is obviously the writing, in my opinion, which is also in the bad category, but I don't know.
Yeah, I really enjoyed watching Alice, and I don't know if it's because I love when little kids can act so well, and in such an intense, I'm not saying the whole movie was intense, but, her scene, the whole movie is based around her, so, she kind of has to be pretty good.
Yeah.
But, so maybe everyone else is acting in meh. I would put Alice's acting in the good, though.
For sure. Continuing on with the meh, I would put the score here. I don't want to put it in the bad. because I did like the Bears theme.
Mm-hmm.
When the horror trope, the colored light spinning thing.
In every horror movie.
But I did like that, the Bears theme.
Mm-hmm.
But the theme felt very Hallmarky. Or not the theme, the score.
Right.
And there were some elements to the score that felt like it was ripped off from Back to the Future. I don't know if you caught that. It was more towards the beginning.
Yeah, I definitely did not catch that.
It was just that feel-good Back to the Future kind of chime. And I was like, that's weird that they're putting this in a horror movie, but I don't know. The score felt very unoriginal outside of the Bears theme. So I put it in the mech because I did like that theme a lot. But outside of that, the score was
I'm going to be honest with you, and you know this about me. When I go and watch a movie, I'm merely there to watch the movie, and I very rarely listen to the score. And I know you're a big score guy.
Unless it's super impactful, I feel
well, yes, of course.
Like Poor Things caught your attention.
Of course, because...
That's also super unique, obviously.
Yes. But, yeah, so I unfortunately did not get...
And I think that goes to
much
show
of that.
This score.
That's true.
It's just so unoriginal, you didn't catch it.
No, definitely not.
It felt very Hallmarky, like I said, and it wasn't for me.
Maybe next time, if we rewatch, I'll keep an eye out. But unless I know ahead of time that it's going to be something, I don't know, outstanding, then I'll probably get to like in my brain. But unfortunately, I don't always get a chance to connect those two things.
Also for the endings in Matt, we get multiple endings. So
yes,
we get an ending.
I thought it was going to end a couple of times, and then it just kept going. Kind of
strong, where they're putting the blue on the wall to make the door to get out of the Never Ever, and everybody gets through. They help Jessica through, and then it cuts to them, speaking to her dad. And I was like, a good ending. This is a heartwarming ending, and then boom, she's like, "I'm still here."
Right. Here we go again.
And this is where it leads to Taylor creates a door to open up, brings Jessica back. The bear creature, which I thought the look of the bear creature was solid enough. It was menacing.
I think so. And I yes.
But
for sure.
Then, it leads to the campy, Alice has the burns on her arm. She lights the match, burns the house down. I wasn't a fan of the burning the house down because it felt very reminiscent to Boogeyman from last year.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, that looks like it was copy and pasted.
I was watching that and I was like, where have I seen this happen before?
It felt copy and pasted, didn't it?
Yeah, that's tough.
So
definitely.
That's why I'm gonna throw endings in the mix. The first ending I could have gotten behind. It was, that heartwarming, traditional. It was tropey, but good.
Yeah.
And then they just threw that away, and it wasn't a bad ending, but it was definitely not a good ending.
Yeah, I would have definitely been okay if it would have just ended with them sitting at the nursing home with Jess's dad and all coming together as a family.
We also get a little comedy there at the end. They're trying to get a hotel, and they see a bear at the seat, and they're like, "New hotel?" Yeah. Which, I thought that was all right. Yes.
You have to throw a little bit towards the end after the big hurrah in the middle, for sure. Yeah. The ending, I do not like alternate endings. Mm-hmm. That one really threw me for a loop. Mm-hmm. Just because...
I think it added to the pacing a little bit for me, too. I was like, okay, we're done. Yeah. And then boom, 15 more minutes.
I mean, which is fine, but...
But you could have put that somewhere else.
Exactly.
In the world building. Yep. The world make the movie make a little more sense. You know what I mean? That's another one of those scenes we were talking about. Yeah. There was a lot of those filler scenes or scenes that just felt like they didn't need to be there. Mm-hmm. That's it for me in the Mad. Do you have anything else for the Mad? I know you said a lot of your stuff falls here.
My one big thing for the Meh would be the beginning, like the clips from the camcorder of Jess with her family. I liked, but did not put two and two together until I watched the movie. That okay, that's her mom, and
that's her grandma actually.
Yes. Yeah. And her dad, and everything, and two and two did not connect for me until okay, they moved into the house.
Because they really just jumped into it.
Yeah, I was so confused. I was like, what is going on here?
And without, like, the movie carrying on and finding out, you're almost like, this could just be a recording of Jessica with a little girl in her family now, and they're just showing the little girl.
Yeah, well, so in the beginning, I thought that was Jess and her kids.
Okay.
And then I was like, wait a minute. And then the two girls, Alice and Taylor popped up on screen, and I was like, what is happening?
Yeah.
But obviously, as the movie goes on, the story then progresses, and then you get to put all the things together. But I think maybe they could have done something different with learning Jessica's backstory.
Yeah.
I think that would have helped the average viewer like me out a little bit better with
for sure.
The backstory to me is a big thing with movies because I don't usually understand it like right away.
Yeah.
Unless it's like, a part of a sequel or something. But this could have, I liked it, but it could have been done in a different way that would have made it easier to understand and maybe that would have helped with pacing issues as well.
Yeah.
Just like getting right to maybe even like a flashback scene, not just like looking through the camcorder, like a flashback scene of what maybe had happened to her with Chauncey the bear and even Gloria, she used to be her babysitter and things like that. I don't know.
That's a good segue to the bad, because I think a lot of that falls on the writing, and that's my first thing I have in the bad. Right. I thought this was a very poorly written film. Not very poorly, but it was definitely poorly written. And that's what hurt it. I think the concept could have been done really well. Even the acting wasn't horrible. Mm-hmm. I thought DeWanda Wise was great, and the Alice was great, but it was just poorly written. You see that a lot in the dialogue. I think the dialogue is very cringy. They were saying things that it almost felt like every character was just saying what popped in their head without thinking.
Yeah. I cannot think of anything off the top of my head, but I definitely would agree.
Like the scene, one that stuck out to me was towards the beginning when Jessica walks in on Alice in her old room, and she's like, "Do you want this to be your room?" And the stepdaughter comes in, "I'm helping her pick her room, and Alley Cat's what I call her." Mm-hmm. And I'm like, it's a room. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Like, if me and my little brother moved into a house, I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm picking his room. I don't know. There was just things that I felt like, you think and don't say, but this movie just said them.
Yeah, and I would love to see this movie, the concept of the movie, written better.
Oh, for sure.
Because I really love the concept, but the writing really did not make it such a great score. You told me the score or what people had thought of it beforehand, and I was really shocked because
I was just not great.
I was unsure of how it was going to go, but I was really surprised in how low it was. And
that's Blumhouse lately. It feels like Blumhouse
which is unfortunate. They've always
releasing some duds, but I
can't always be
perfect.
Freddy's, but they can't always be perfect.
No. No, the writing wasn't great. This kind of leads into Gloria's character too.
Yeah.
I thought Buckley with what she was given did well. But
I think
her character was horribly written.
I don't know if it was the writing or she was just trying to be menacing. Like,
I don't even know if that. I don't like the introduction of her character. It was creepy.
She was in the back of the picture.
I guess you have to have somebody that learns all the lore,
right,
and is there to tell you like, this is my life's work. I don't know. I didn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she gets to the Never Ever, and she's like, it's so beautiful, and then you find out that she like had a connection with the entity, and the entity promised her whatever, and then she gets told up. I don't know. I just didn't like her character. I didn't like the character arc. I just thought it was bad.
I honestly, now that I'm thinking about it more in depth, I think the movie probably could have went along with the whole story without her character at all.
Honestly, it could have.
Like, I understand, like, it was poorly written, maybe poorly done, but I understand.
Her only major staple in the film was convincing Taylor that Jessica's not crazy.
Yes, by showing her
Her life's
everything.
work. Yeah.
But I really think maybe that could have been done in a different way.
But Jessica could have figured out that the list was the key by herself.
Yeah.
Her character just...
Which she did.
Yeah. I mean, she shuts the door and I guess gets them trapped in the never-ever. But, like, still...
If you think about it, I don't think her character was really that necessary.
No.
And I think when they're standing in the lawn meeting for the first time, she was trying to... And maybe not trying, but she was kind of a little, like, kind of giving me, like, the Conjuring vibes, how she's, like, kind of being real menacing. Mm-hmm. I don't know, she was giving me, like, the heebie-jeebies a little bit. I was like, I don't like that. But, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I was not a fan of her character.
Yeah, I would agree.
Another thing I think was bad was the look of the spider monster. It literally just looked like a dude with, like... black pool noodles taped to him.
Yeah, and I think that one also went along with, like, what Jess was writing about, and, like, that was, like, part of her nightmare, because I feel like she was trying to meet all these deadlines with her book she was writing, and that's where that nightmare started in the very beginning, was about the spider, because that's what she's writing about, and we were just talking about that today, about having nightmares about things that are troubling you. Yeah. The one thing I did like about him is that why her dad was in the nursing home is because he looked into his eyes and seen all of the imaginations of all of the children, and that was just, like, too much for his brain to handle, and then unfortunately got sick over it.
Yeah.
I think that was the one thing I liked about the creepy spider monster
Never
guy.
really explained the tooth pulling.
No.
The dad.
No.
I don't know.
Maybe if we watch it again, we'll find some sort of hidden meaning.
I just thought, like, you put all of this,
Oh, it was something that hurts you.
Oh.
And he pulled his tooth out.
Oh,
part of the list.
To get into the door.
Yeah, that's what it was. That makes sense.
But, just the look of the spider, I thought the bear... They obviously put a budget behind the scary bear. And I don't think it looked the best, but...
Right. Well, it's an imagination.
The spider guy just looked very cheaply made. Like, it looked like, all right, let's just put a guy in spandex, decorate him a little bit.
Yeah.
That's almost what it felt like. I don't know. I wasn't a fan of the look of the spider.
I did also like the imaginations, like, flickering in his eyes when they're, like, trying to pull Jess out of the never-ever.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool.
I don't think the camera work was bad throughout the entire movie by any means. I think the editing had its issues, but I did not... The one scene that just sticks out to me is the scene where Jessica opens the basement door after she thinks Alice is awake, and she just drew the smiley face ball.
Right.
There's a quick cut, and it's just a smiley face with it's the bouncy ball with a frowning face.
Right.
I did not like that camera cut, like how it just like shot down real quick. I don't know, it's too jumpy.
I see. But I remember I know what you're talking about.
I'm just nitpicking, but I didn't like that.
You gotta be sometimes. That's okay.
Yeah. But, I mean, the major thing is writing in the bad.
Yeah.
If you have a poorly written film, it's not gonna set you up for success.
Right. The one thing I'm gonna put in the bad that I don't think we mentioned was, see, I understand in most scary movies, like, when you shoot over to someone and then there's, like, the black figure in the back. That happened a lot in this movie. Like, too much.
They didn't really explain. Like, I get it.
No, yes.
It's probably the
entity.
It's the entity, but, like...
It was a lot.
Yeah.
Like, every couple of minutes. Which is fine.
That Insidious trope.
Yes.
Where, the Red Devil's behind Patrick Wilson's character. Yeah, it was definitely
overdone. I thought it was overkill.
Yeah.
And I know that's also kind of nitpicky. Because sometimes you don't even catch it. But I don't...
There were some fun jump scares.
Yes, there was. There definitely was. But that was just...
up for the film,
Yeah, definitely not. But that would be the one thing I would add to the bad is that, like, it's okay to throw a few here and there because, like, we know the house is not haunted in this case. But, like, in other movies, the house is haunted. So, obviously, there's going to be shadow figures and such around. But they really tried to throw it in
sure.
every chance they could, under the steps, in the hallway.
Yeah. So we'll jump over to our final thoughts. What are your final thoughts on this film, and what would you give it out of 10?
My final thoughts are that I'm glad I went to go see it, because it is, when we seen the trailer, when we go see every other movie we go see, I was like, oh, that would be a fun watch. And obviously the trailer is the trailer, and you never know how good or bad it's going to be. But I'm glad we went to go see it. If it comes streaming, I think I maybe would like to watch it again, just to kind of, because you get one of those movies you kind of have to watch once and then watch again to kind of fill in the little like Easter egg things that are here and there throughout. But overall, not mad at it, but I'm kind of unfortunately going to give it a low score at a 6.
6? Okay.
So I guess not too low, but kind of right in the middle.
For me, I was between a 4 and a 5. And so that put me in the decision of where would I rank it amongst Night Swim and Mean Girls, who were a 4.5 and a 5 for me this year. And I think I like both of those films more than this.
Interesting take.
So I'm going to go 4 out of 10
Okay.
for Imaginary. Just very underwhelming is the word I would use for it. It could have been a lot better, I think, but it just...
Yeah.
It was tropey, cheesy, poorly written, cringy, like those words.
Yeah.
The words I would use for it. But yeah, a 4 out of 10.
Considering I was in my head when you asked me to go,
Thinking of John Krasinski.
I was thinking of the new John Krasinski movie coming out soon, which is fine because I'd like to go see both, but two different movies.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that one, though.
No, I am too. Yeah, for sure. There's some horror movies coming up too that I'm excited for. I'm actually really excited to see Tarot. I think that's a movie that has the...
You told me that in the theater.
It looks like the movie that could either be really good, like, wow, that's, a smile type of film, or it could be really bad.
Yeah.
Like your Bye Bye Mans, your Truth or Dares, your Imaginaries.
Yeah. I hope to see maybe some of these actors and actresses and other things.
A big year for horror, honestly.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Terrifier 3, Smile 2.
Oh, I'm so excited for
Terrifier 2
3.
and The Wolfman. Abigail. 3 films based on or derived from or Universal Monster films.
Which are your favorites? So that's exciting.
Well, Nosferatu, I guess, is technically not Universal Monster, but...
Close enough.
Dracula is, and Dracula's based off Nosferatu, off that same story.
I think it'll be a good year for horror. I'm always down to go see a horror movie. So I'm hoping it's still early in the year. We still have many months left. So hopefully...
Hasn't been a great start to horror.
No, unfortunately. It really hasn't been a good start to the year.
No, Night Swim Imaginary, it's really... Unless you count Lisa Frankenstein as like a horror rom-com.
Yeah.
Then that was good.
Yeah.
Outside of Dune 2, Lisa Frankenstein, Beekeeper, and ISS. Bob Marley was good. But I feel like the ones you've gone and seen with me have all been duds.
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
Because you've seen what with me? Night Swim, Imaginary, Mean Girls, Lisa Frankenstein was good.
That was good. That's okay.
Driveway Dolls.
They can't... Yes, I enjoyed that. They can't always be good. Like I said...
Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2 is coming out.
I will not be going to see that. That's all you. But, I'm always down to go see a horror movie. I'll always be down to review a horror movie. So, hopefully we have better luck as the rest of the year continues. It's only March.
For sure.
You have to start slow. Yeah. And then in the middle of the year, hopefully we hit a peak.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
That's right. And then maybe, my most anticipated movie isn't until September, so I don't care what we see. So.
Yeah. Beetlejuice 2.
I'll be here.
Coming. It'll be here quicker than what you think.
I know, I'm so excited.
But that'll do it for Imaginary. Rosie, thank you for coming on once again. Thank you all for watching. If you like what you're watching, check out some of these other videos or hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Social links are down in the description below if you'd like to hit the follow button on those as well. And again, we thank you all for watching, and we will talk to you all soon. Peace.
Peace and love.